Good evening and welcome to the Uni Instrumental Music Program Fall Band Concert. My name is Jasmine Chen and I am the Band Executive Council Student Vice President. On behalf of Ms. Maneewongwathana and Mrs. Lee and the UHS Instrumental Music students, we thank you for joining us this evening. Our program this evening features music from all over the world, from the sweet and lively music of Cuba to the songs of Australia, from the last days of autumn to the rolling Shenandoah River. This evening's concert theme is Songs of a Wayfarer. We hope you enjoy. Without further ado, please welcome the concert band under the direction of Mrs. Diane Lee.
I'm Juliet. Our first piece of Symphonic Band is going to be In These Last Days of Autumn by Randall Standridge. Here in Irvine, it seems like autumn has just begun. The air grows crisp, mornings darken, and we begin to experience the wonderful color palette of the changing seasons. For some, this signals excitement for what is to come. For others, the departure of summer is met with melancholy as the winds turn colder and colder. Colors change. May we look back with fond memories of the past, but also find joy in what is to come. Symphonic Band's first piece, entitled In These Last Days of Autumn by Randall Standridge, will feature Rowan German on piano.
confronting our deepest fears. Our appreciation attempts to protect us from uncertainty and potential disappointment. However, true growth occurs when we step outside our comfort zone and face the challenges we were avoiding. To quote Joseph Campbell, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." So take a chance, venture into the dark unknown, and fight whatever monsters you find. Come with us on a musical journey into the cave you fear. Thank you.
Sea Songs by Ralph Vaughan Williams is a march that uses melodies from Feast of
three sea shanties, Princess Royal, Admiral Benbow, and Portsmouth, each of which has its own distinct character and aesthetic. This piece was originally written as the second movement to Vaughan Williams' English folk song suite, but was published and premiered as a standalone work instead. We hope you enjoy this lively march. Thank you.
Ticheli is a beautiful setting of the folk song O Shenandoah, a riverman's song about the Shenandoah River. The text paints a portrait of rural America's rolling waters and wide countryside. This arrangement features devices idiomatic of Frank Ticheli's writing, like flowing chordal harmonic movements and soloistic moments that highlight the natural tone colors of our French horn, euphonium, and flutes. Please enjoy our performance of Ticheli's Shenandoah.
use of bright timbres and splashy percussion give the feeling of exuberance as one breaks through the clouds. And the long chorale-like melodies give the illusion of weightlessness in the sky. This piece will feature our percussion section, with a virtuosic call and response between the band and the timpani. We hope you enjoyed Wind Ensemble's final selection for the evening, In Flight.
We're missing a musician today. Can we give it up for our percussion section? They're going to be featured in today's piece. And to put it diplomatically, they're overcoming some obstacles today. So let's give them lots of love. Thanks, Wind Ensemble. Always a privilege and joy working with you guys. This is my second year with the Wind Ensemble, and they are just so much fun. I didn't want to jinx them, but we were missing our snare for that last piece, and Julian over there sight read that. We also had Nathan and Tung. Nathan on the bass drum was completely winging it, and Tung also was winging it. We just found out we were missing a member now. So they really overcame some obstacles there.
Afterlight has two meanings. The first is a pleasant glow after a sunset, that lingering golden orange hue that blends into the deep blue May. It is subtle and only lasts a few minutes, yet it is depicted in countless pieces of art. The reason why leads to its second meaning. An afterlight is also a reflection on the past, a moment so impactful that we desire to immortalize it. Afterlight by William Pitts was written for the lasting legacy and memories of a person. In this case, Ms. M has programmed and dedicated the piece to the senior class of 2026. Not only are these the first students she taught when she first accepted the position at uni, but they also have positively contributed to the UHS instrumental music program throughout their high school career. Their impact, or Afterlight, will last for years to come. The piece opens with our senior percussionist and will feature a number of solo motives by our seniors. Please enjoy Afterlight by William Pitts.
talking, but the senior class does mean a whole lot to me. I was thinking about that this year, how this is now my 4th year at uni. It's their 4th year at uni. It's their last year at uni, so I want to make the most of every single piece that we play. So, so this next piece I actually bought for them. I was going through all of our repertoire, and there are some exceptional students on stage who I wanted to feature this next piece. So we went ahead and bought it, and I really hope that you enjoy it. It is super fun, and this is now, guys, our first concert. All right.
Hey guys, I'm Nico. Let me ask you this question. Are there any coffee lovers in this house? Okay, I can definitely hear you, but I can't really see you because I don't really have my glasses on me right now. But I'm pretty sure that Mrs. Lee was one of those people who shot her hand straight up. Well, for all the coffee aficionados and those who might not be familiar, Cuban coffee is essentially just really strong and sweet espresso. So if someone asks you, ¿Quieres un cafecito? Or do you want some coffee? A pick-me-up that will have you preparing to go for the next couple of hours. This piece is just that. This piece is just that. A quick, virtuosic performance that's filled with energy, passion, and groove of Cuban culture. Just when the coffee starts to wear off and it starts to relax, we will give you another shot of espresso to get you moving again. Because this is a flavor of Latin jazz and not your typical band wind piece, we don't want a silent audience. It is most appropriate, and we strongly encourage you to cheer and applaud for the soloists in our section. So without further ado, please enjoy the IUSD premiere of Un Cafecito by Cuban-Colombian composer Llinás, presented by the University High School Wind Symphony.